Hello, and thank you for joining me as I walk you through the Community Assessor tool, affectionately called the CAT. The CAT is a tool developed for the Northeast Midwest State Foresters Alliance. I will start by explaining who it is for and what it can do. The CAT is an excellent tool for professionals working with their local neighborhood communities to become more adapted to living with wildfire. The Community Assessor enables state forestry organizations, local fire departments, and other partners to map and perform field assessments of wildfire risk in neighborhoods located in the wildland-urban interface. Based on the assessed conditions, the tool calculates a hazard rating and score and generates recommended mitigation strategies for each assessed community, which then can be used to develop fire-wise action plans as well as community wildfire protection plans. Let's begin by discussing the role you might have in Community Assessor. Some people will be assigned the Assessment Manager role, which typically falls to staff within state forestry agencies whose responsibility it is to coordinate and manage assessments of communities in support of fire-wise recognition and/or community wildfire protection plan development. The managers can do almost everything in the CAT, including performing assessments. However, there is an additional role for trained individuals whose responsibility is generally limited to the field assessment of neighborhood-level communities. These field assessors are often state forestry staff, but sometimes also fire department personnel or other local trained partners. Let's get our bearings with the overall workflows of the assessment manager and field assessor. The process starts when the manager creates a new assessment project. To this project, the manager will do two things: map out which communities will be assessed and add people to the project team. For anyone performing the assessments, particularly field assessors who might have sketchy cell coverage, there is a special website that can be used offline. The field assessor will want to do some one-time setup to ensure that they can get to the website if they go offline. But after that, they can download any community that hasn't yet been assessed on the projects that they are actually team members for. At that point, it is a matter of driving to the neighborhood and performing the assessments while on site, whether they are online or offline. They will repeat the process for every community that needs assessment. Then, whenever they are online, they can upload the assessment to the CAT. The manager will review the assessments and mitigation strategies and then lock the project, essentially preventing further edits. Finally, the individual community report and project level reports are the outputs that can be used for developing CWPPs and for helping a community take actions to become fire-wise. The Community Assessor tool is accessed through the Northeast Midwest State Foresters Alliance Wildfire Risk Assessment portal, and you will need your state administrator to give you the appropriate role of either Assessments Manager or Field Assessor to sign in. Once you have a role assigned, you will go to the portal and you will scroll to the CAT Sign In section at the bottom. Once you click the Sign In, you will land on the page to enter your credentials, which are the same ones that you use for the portal. Okay, now I'm in the CAT. Here on the Assessment Projects page, I see all of the assessment projects that I am a team member for. If the list were long, I could filter based on status or based on project name, or owner email. Because I am an assessments manager and I will be coordinating assessment projects, I can see the Create Project button up here. So let's get started. From the New Projects page, I will enter a project name, which people typically use a descriptor that indicates the location and year of the assessments. I'll enter Gilbert Lake, CWPP, the year 2023, which is when I expect the CWPP to be done. By indicating the project type, I will ensure that CWPP assessment projects, which usually cover many neighborhoods, can be tracked separately from those done solely for fire-wise recognition, which is usually only in a single neighborhood. The last thing I'll indicate is the county or city that the project is for. I'm picking Brainerd in Crow Wing County. Now I click Create, and the system will create a new project for me. So I can see Gilbert Lake CWPP 2023 in Brainerd, Crow Wing County. I am the project owner, the type is CWPP, and for now, the status is open. There is a placeholder for the CWPP published document, which I can add in later once it's been developed. The next step for me will be to add communities to be assessed and team members to help. As an assessments manager, you will be able to map where the communities are in the project area, which people usually do in collaboration with fire department staff and/or others with local knowledge. The three options are to create a community by mapping it from scratch, adding it to the project if it already exists in the system and will be reassessed, or importing a shapefile of communities mapped in another system. Let's look at mapping communities from scratch. When I click the Create Community button, I am taken to the New Community page, where the map is automatically zoomed to the county, city, or town I selected for the project. And you can see Brainerd here in the center. I can zoom in and out and move around in the map as needed. I'm going to zoom in to this section over here. I can toggle base maps, so topographic map is selected by default, but I also have aerial with labels, streets. The reference layers are also there to help me get my bearings and to get information about the area. For example, I could turn on the conditional risk to potential structures if I wanted to get a sense of that situation. If I want to see the legend, I can click that on and get a sense of extreme versus minimal. I will use aerial photos. I will turn off conditional risk for the moment, but I'm going to turn on streets so that I can get my bearings. You might notice up here that we actually are also seeing some communities in the map for other projects, such as this Wise Acres neighborhood. This will help me know that if I'm going to work in this area again, that I should not be creating this from scratch, but rather I should be selecting it from the existing communities. But first, I want to map in an area that is not yet in the database here in this Del Mar Drive area. First, I will give the community a name, so I will call it Del Mar, up here in the left. I will then click on this pencil icon, and I will then be ready to start mapping the boundary. As I bring my mouse into the map, I can start clicking to draw the area that denotes where this community is that I will be visiting or other team members will be assessing. I double click to complete, and now I could either save and stay in the map to map another one, or I can save this community and go back to the project page. For now, I will simply save the new community. When it returns me to the project page, I can see my newly added community in the map here, as also in the list down here. I can also tell that this community has not yet been assessed because here in the list it says the status is not assessed, and it says the same thing in the map. Now I will go to add an existing community. I'll use the one that we saw earlier. I click Add Existing Community, and it prompts me to search for the one that I want to add. I type in a few letters that I know are part of the name of the community, and I see here a couple of options. Down here is the one I'm looking for, Wise Acres, and I can see that it was included on a project in 2017. I click the Add button. It asks me to confirm. Once added, the community now displays in the map as well as down here in the list. So, what if the neighborhood changed in area since the last time it was assessed? Well, I'll click on Wise Acres here and it takes me to the particular community page. I now see an update button here that I can use to update the perimeter to reflect today's boundary. If I click on the shape in the map, I see the buttons around the edge that I can actually drag in the map until I am happy it reflects today's new boundary. Once I'm happy and satisfied with the new extent, I will click Update. I see the new shape in the map, and I return to the project. By repeating these steps, drawing more communities or bringing them in from existing projects, or by using this import tool, you will first map out all of the communities to be field assessed. I've added a few more communities to the project for assessment, but I'm going to need some help doing these assessments, so I want to invite someone else to the team. Adding them will grant them permission to access the project and perform assessments. So let's add a field assessor to the team by switching over to the Project Members tab. My name is already in the list, but I can look for other people to bring in. I click Add Member, and I can search using their name. I type in a few letters and I see an option. I'm going to add this particular field assessor to the project. Now, this field assessor has been given permission to perform assessments on all of these communities, which they can do in person once they visit those neighborhoods. Now let's move on to the process of collecting a field assessment. To get your mobile device ready, you will first go to the regular CAT website from your phone or your tablet. You will use the Start Here link to get to the special supplemental Field Assessment Tool website that supports offline use on mobile devices. Although I'm not showing it here, you will have to sign into this tool separately, but you will use the same credentials that you do for the CAT. Lastly, you'll want to add the Field Assessment Tool app to your home screen on your device, following the protocols for your specific device. Now you're ready to start assessing. Okay, so here I am signed into the Field Assessor tool as the Field Assessor. For purposes of demonstration, I am using a mobile emulator on a desktop computer, so some of the interactions will look slightly different than if I were on a true mobile device. But what do I see? First, I see this refresh button. It's here for when I want to make sure that I have the latest and greatest list of communities being mapped out for the project. If I click the About This Tool button, I'm informed to save the website to my home screen, as we just discussed, and it also explains a little bit about what I can do while I'm online versus what I can do when I'm offline. If I scroll to the bottom, I will see a button that I can use to get back to the Community Assessor website. Or, if I want, I can click the Sign Out button. For security reasons, the tool must delete all of your assessments when you sign out, so do not use this option if you have assessments that still need to be uploaded to the CAT on your device. Speaking of assessments, in the middle here, I see the Communities Needing Assessment, which is a list of all the communities that have not yet been assessed and that are on projects that I'm a member for. Today, they are all for this Gilbert Lake CWPP 2023 project. If I wanted to plan my route to any of these communities, I can click the Get Directions control here. It will open the default mapping application on my device. Here, because I'm on a laptop, it is simply taking me to Google Maps. Back on this page, if I wanted to assess several communities, I would download them using these download controls. Today, I do want to go to Wise Acres, so I will download it. I might also make it to Del Mar, so I will download that one as well. When my device goes offline, which I will do now, my view will change and I will no longer see the communities that I have not downloaded. These icons here indicate that they are both ready for me to start an assessment. So let's say I've driven out to the Wise Acres community. I'm going to click on the Start button and land on the assessment form. Now let's return to the CAT so that we can review the mitigation strategies and download some reports. I've logged in as the assessments manager that I was in here before, and I'm going to open my 2023 Gilbert Lake CWPP project. I see now that the Wiseacres community has been assessed, and by its color, I can tell that the rating is high. If I scroll down in the list, I see that again. It has been assessed. But I want to know more. So when I click the community, I am now able to explore the summary of the assessment with the calculated ratings and score. If I go to this assessment tab, I can actually see every single assessed condition should I want to take a look at what the field assessor had entered. One of the most important features is that the CAT calculates mitigation strategies for the community based on the assessed conditions and organizes them by category. So we can scan them here, but in a moment, you'll also see them in the community report. The History tab will show you the changes in the community if it had been assessed more than once. And here you can see that there has been an improvement since the last time it was assessed. Whereas before we had ratings of moderate, high, and high, we now have moderate, moderate, and moderate. The score has gone from 126 down to 102. For specific details, I could download the comparison report and compare every single value. But for now, I'm going back over here to the Summary tab. If I needed to make adjustments to the most recent assessment, I can do that by clicking the Update Assessment, and I can visit any of the pages and make any corrections or adjustment I need. But I feel confident that the assessment that's there is good, so I'm going to go back and actually show you how to download the report for this community. I will click the Download Report button, and the system will generate a report that includes all of these pieces of information that I can use with a community. Here is the downloaded Community Wildfire Risk Assessment Report for the community of Wiseacres. You'll see that it is in Word format, so it can be edited. The report includes a map, as well as some summary details, and any photographs that were uploaded by the assessor. The following pages include information per category of the assessed conditions of each of the elements, such as ingress and egress was 2 or more roads in and out, as denoted by this arrow. And then for each of the items, we see the recommended mitigation strategies checklist for the community. This report will be useful for the HOA or other community representation to make some changes and help their community become more fire adapted. It can also help any teams working on a larger community wildfire protection plan. Okay, so now let's return to the project. Since we were gone, the remaining communities have been assessed, which we can tell in the map because they've got colors. We can also tell down here because the status for all of our communities now say assessed. As the project owner, I will set the status of this project to locked when I feel that all of the assessment edits are complete. Changing the project status to locked, applying the status, we now see the status update here to locked. The other thing we see is I now have availability to get the project report. This project report contains a summary of the communities that were assessed. So let's take a look. Here again, we have a Word report. On the first page, we see a map of all of the communities color-coded by their hazard rating. On the second page, we will see a listing of all of the communities, and in this table they are ranked with the one that has the highest hazard score at the top and the one with the lowest hazard score at the bottom. These are very helpful pieces of information when larger communities are working on their community wildfire protection plans and they want to get a sense of prioritization for strategies. The other thing to keep in mind about locking a project in the Community Assessor is that it will cause the communities that have been assessed to be shared into the risk explorers, both the Advanced Viewer and the Basic. I'm over here looking at the Minnesota Advanced Viewer, and I'm in the Map Themes. For convenience, I have closed almost all of the layers, but down here you will see the Community Risk Assessment layer. When I turned it on, the communities that we just assessed and locked in the project are displayed. If I use the Identify tool and I click on any of the communities, I will see information about that community returned to me in the window. Here we can see that this is in fact part of the project from 2023. The community name is Wise Acres. The total hazard rating is high. And if I have the authority to go to the Community Assessor, I can click on the link and I will be able to explore the details just as we saw the last time. This concludes our tour of the Community Assessor tool and its supplemental field assessment tool. We hope the information provided helps you get started on your own assessment projects to help the communities near you.
To learn more about our tools and wildlife prevention in general, visit our Northeast Midwest State Foresters Alliance website today. Until next time, thank you for watching.